What is up, podcast, and welcome to the Raise Flames Podcast Network. We have another amazing show for you today. You know, last week we had Habib Salo on the show, and today we have his older brother, Mr. Greg Salo, the president of Young Guns Incorporated. What's up, my man?
You mean the cooler brother, bro?
The cooler brother, the older brother, Greg Salo, the man, the myth, the legend.
Thanks, bro.
That is awesome, brother. Greg, on my show we talk a lot about passion. So that's the big theme on
Passion.
The show. Yes. When Habib was on the show, I described his passion as like his passion's like passions on steroids.
Passion's on steroids.
He's like obsessed. He gets obsessed with something. Once he focuses on something, he goes for it. It's just nothing's gonna stop him.
Yeah, I just listened to it. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, so it's like that's his thing. Now your passion, I describe it like a ball of hot energy. It's like it's like you put you in a room and it's gonna erupt. Like there's gonna be this fire, this energy, this very magnetic thing. It's like if I mean, no matter what, it's gonna just explode. Like back in the day, I remember like we would go to trade shows, or if we do a class somewhere, like at a school. I mean, a trade show, it's like a huge arena. There's multiple booths everywhere, and all these different companies that are in the arena. At some point, no matter what, all the people ended up at our booth, and it was because it was like this. I mean, you were out of control energy. People were getting to learn from the product. People wanted to see you basically, and wanted to be around that energy, and you would just pump people up.
I was blessed.
It was just crazy.
I am blessed.
It's just crazy, bro. So the first question I have for you is: have you always had that sort of like endless energy? Number one, and then where do you think that energy comes from?
I've always, since I was a kid, have been very hyperactive.
So when you're little, you're just like going all crazy everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, I was always the jokester in my classroom. I was always laughing at inappropriate things.
Which is what we do by now, right now.
I always gravitated towards other people that had the same type of intensity and energy. So yeah, I'd say most of my life I've been pretty, I don't suffer. I do suffer from ADHD, and it is it's very hard for me to concentrate unless I really, really like it. So nice. I mean, but that's okay. I've learned to manage it through my whole entire life.
That's crazy. It's a good combination because your brother has that like focused, razor sharp energy, and then you have this explosive energy that's just going all over the place, different places, and it makes a good team, right?
It makes a very powerful team. I'm very blessed that my brother can do that, and we've always talked about how lucky we are to have both ends of the spectrum. Habib can, he works very well. He's very organized, with organization.
Yeah.
And he's always been able to,
yes,
he's always been able to excel at that level. For me, I enjoy, and I haven't always, but I do enjoy the spotlight. It's been it's something that I feed off of. I always have, and when there's good energy, it's kind of like it's funny because I listen to a lot of comics, and I listen to them talking about feeding off of the laughter in the room that they generate from jokes, especially when they're murdering it on stage, right?
Oh yeah, when they're crushing it.
When they're crushing it on stage and people are laughing, it feeds them to basically go even better.
So you have that thing where like if that crowd's going, it just makes you go. It just builds the fire even stronger.
Oh, I mean, and again, and it wasn't something that was developed overnight. It took years to perfect. It's like you're putting on a show.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel that everybody has the ability to be able to do it, but you have to be a master of your craft to be able to present that, to that level.
That's crazy. That's awesome. Has the energy that you before was it always for the nail business, or what were you doing before?
Oh man, I mean, when I graduated from high school, my mom wanted me to be a civil engineer, so I went to Cal
Civil
Poly.
engineer.
Yeah, I went to
Wow.
Cal Poly Pomona for about a quarter. I lasted a quarter, so they were on the quarter system, and then I dropped out because all my friends were going to Fullerton Junior College. We were going to FJC.
Oh, nice.
And I just didn't want to be in university. So I ended up dropping out, and I told my mom I was dropping out and going to JC so that I could transfer to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and do their architecture program. So
You had to tell her that because she wanted you to be an engineer, right?
she wanted to be an engineer. I told her I wanted to change to be an architect. So I took a few classes at FJC, and that lasted about a semester. And then I ended up dropping out of school and just working full time. That lasted till about the time my mom met. Well, I was gonna go to fire school to be a fireman. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So that's when it. I was going to go to school to be a fireman, and then obviously halfway through school, my mom was the one who said, "Hey, this random gentleman just walked into my business, and he's got this crazy idea about manufacturing manicuring kits for cosmetology schools. What do you think about getting into business with him? I think it's a good idea. You should meet him." And at that time, I was like, "What? Like,
Oh my God.
are you kidding me?" But my mom. My mom she's always been entrepreneurial. I mean, she's always had an entrepreneurial spirit. She always wanted to go into business for herself. So at the age of 49 years old, she decided to start a company called Hollywood Nails International. And I was lucky enough to partner with her at the inception of this business. And her and I started the company in 1992. And that's how it all started. Yeah, I mean, previous to that, I mean, dude, I was gung-ho about mountain biking. I was gung-ho about skiing. I was gung-ho about hiking. I mean, anything associated with outdoors and physical activity was
Being active.
Yeah, and I got obsessed with, you're listening to your last podcast with Habib talks about obsession. Dude, I suffer from the same exact thing. When I get obsessed with something,
Stay on that one thing.
Oh, dude, I like mountain biking. I became so obsessed with not just being a better biker, but I became obsessed with learning how to repair, because I didn't have the money to take. Every time I trashed my bike, I couldn't take it to a repair shop and have it fix it. So I bought a stand. I bought all the tools.
Fix it yourself?
I did fix it.
You bought the stand, like the bike?
Dude, I was able literally to take the whole entire bike apart and rebuild the whole entire thing.
That's crazy.
Got obsessed with that. Now, previous to getting into the nail business with my mom, which was an accident, but
that's crazy.
Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, you get upset, like whether it's working out or diet, that's your thing. Like you just get full out.
That's the thing. When I'm, obsession is a great thing, but it could lead to. I would say that obsession could lead to depression, and it's kind of funny.
Why do you think that?
Because there's no such thing as like you're going straight to the top. Like, so when you're obsessed with something and you practice something all the time, that doesn't mean you're going to keep getting better and better. Sometimes you have to take 2 steps back in order to take 1 step forward.
Yeah.
And those 2 steps back that you have to take are depressing.
Yeah, because you have this goal, like I want to be this,
Oh, dude.
and you're trying to get there. There's going to be pitfalls along the way,
bro,
right?
major. It's like, and I can relate it to anything, but there's no such thing as any individual who wants to be at the top of their game, who thinks all I have to do is practice and eventually I'll get better. That is true. But you have to remember, there is always taking steps back. So the individuals out there who are comfortable with failure, because that's what it is.
Comfortable with failure.
Comfortable with failure, because when you practice something and you don't get it, frustration builds. Frustration builds, and when frustration basically sets in, so does depression. Like it's almost hand in hand. Now, here's the
You
thing.
call it like a full. You call it.
It is. It's depressing.
Like
Bro,
that bad. Like
bro,
not sad. Like full on. You're just like
dude,
depressed.
you think about it, right? When you are working on something, let's say, let me, you give me an example, and I'm going to ask you, like, what are you obsessed with?
Well, me, I love food, so I'm obsessed with trying
Okay,
to learn how
so
to
were
cook.
you always a great cook?
No.
Is there stuff that you've cooked and it turned out like caca?
My wife will say yes a million times. Like yes.
No, but I'm saying
Yeah,
is,
so
have you ever
it's-
cooked something and it was just like awful?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And weren't you bummed?
Oh yeah,
Bro.
You don't even cook for. Yeah, you're right. You don't even cook for like 3 days. After.
Okay, so
you're
that's
like-
what I'm saying.
It's that bad.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not saying depression to the point of like,
Going to the mental hospital.
Yeah,
You're just
no.
like, oh, but you're super. You're in a
yes,
low. You're in a freaking
bro,
low. Like, yeah.
like,
I get
and
it,
so you have to be able to learn from that, and hopefully you have the ability to say, you know what, I don't like this feeling.
Yeah.
So what am I going to have to do so that I don't experience this feeling, and move forward and practice and keep perfecting until it gets perfect. I kind of like, I relate, you know how obsessed I am with playing golf.
Oh yeah.
So it's the same thing, bro. Like over the weekend, dude, I shot 79 on Thursday. I shot 96. So yesterday,
That's a big.
bro,
that's a
dude,
huge-
almost 20
huge-
shot, dude. So like shooting 96, you should have seen when I walked off the course, I wanted to break my clubs. I was so depressed. I almost felt like I was going backwards. But I'm working on new things. I'm working on different positions, new techniques, and in order for me for it to be second nature, I'm gonna have to take those 2 steps back, so that
get to where you want to go.
where to I want to go. But you know, look, there was a gleam of bright light because I shot an insane game last week, and I hadn't played, and you know, I was sick with COVID, dude. Like you know, 3 weeks ago. So I'm an optimist on all levels.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the difference. Like that's the key right there. Your ingredients, your steps to getting past that hump. Because great players like Tiger Woods or baseball players, they're like you said, if a baseball player is working on a new way to swing the bat, and he's been playing for his whole life, but he's at that level where he wants to take it to the next step. He wants to hit the ball in a certain area. Same thing with Tiger Woods. They have to take a step back and kind of learn these new techniques. It's not like you're going to get them right away.
No.
There's going to be that little...
I mean, dude, think about a professional baseball player, right? Who's been, first of all, to make it to the major leagues is like almost impossible.
1 in a million.
It's beyond that, bro, right? It's so difficult. Okay, now, you make it to the majors, and you're on fire. But look, here's the thing, right? How many times do you go to bat per game? 3-4 times max per game, okay? Let's say you're in a slump. Can you, think about this, bro. Let's say you're in a 2-month slump. You can't hit the ball. Can you imagine what's going through their head? Their teams, their fans, everyone depending on them.
The money?
They
could lose that money like this.
But here's the thing, they're in contract, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they're in a slump.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking about when I was playing poorly, my buddy he kind of used that as like a reference. He was like, bro, like you're having a bad game, but like we're just out here having fun. Can you imagine if you were a professional?
So much more on the line.
Oh my God. And so I'm not even talking about sports. It happens to everybody, dude. And I feel in nails, especially students that are learning how to do nails, they think it's so easy. The fact is that it's not.
Right. Yeah.
And when you are building skills to take care of your life financially, there's pressure there as well. So, our job obviously is to continue to put out enough content where, there's an abundance amount of technique and information out there where people can kind of digest it. But just digesting it is not going to do anything. I watch videos and stuff all the time, and I'm like, oh, okay, I think I could do it. But you have to and again, practicing it is one thing, but practicing to a point where it becomes second nature, that's another. And you're gonna take two steps back before you take one step forward. Getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, and that uncomfortable is the frustration. Trying to deal with that frustration, right? Being able to analyze it, saying, you know what, I embrace it, and I know it's part of my growth, I think is a characteristic that not a lot of people have it, but bro, a lot of people, they can't get past it.
Yes, yes.
That is why a lot of people don't succeed, is because they cannot deal with frustration.
That's what I'm learning from you guys. Like Habib talked about it too. Is like that's how Kobe, like Kobe was in the professional realm. He was in there. He can go to the next level. Like great champions also, they embrace the suck. Like they embrace the loss. They embrace. How do you like? I don't know how to describe it. Can you describe it? How do people? Because they do get like you do get into that just depression. And some people don't get out of it. Some people don't. They just stay in there. How do you get to that point where you are comfortable with the uncomfortable, where you can get past that hump? Because the best things will tell you, and everybody will say this. Will Smith will say this. Great actors will say this. Great champions will say this. The best things are on that other side of that hump. So how do you get yourself like in that state where you can get past all that and get comfortable with the uncomfortable?
I love to win.
Oh.
So, dude, like, so this is the thing, like, you know, that statement right there, I love to win, right? I could have said, I hate to lose, right?
There are people that say that.
Oh, dude, so what's the difference, right? So, like, of course, dude, everyone hates losing, right? But I love winning so much that I'm literally trying to figure out ways to give me the competitive advantage.
There you go. So it's the focus then?
Dude,
it's like what you focus on.
I'm always thinking how I'm going to win. I don't think about all the stuff that I've done, all the mistakes that I've made. I don't dwell on them. I know they're there, right? I try not to make the same mistakes twice. It happens. We're human,
right?
But because my vision, my goal is the feeling of winning, because I love that feeling of winning, right? And it's not about holding up a trophy. It's an accomplishment. Winning is also an accomplishment.
Whatever your goal is.
Mastering something. Getting when I got to the top of Mount Whitney, bro.
Dang. How many miles was that to get there?
22. Round trip. 11 miles.
Just walking 22 miles is a problem for me. You walked up a hill, Mount Whitney.
With almost 40 pounds on my back, highest elevation in the continental United States. I mean, but that it's not like you just step on the mountain and go do that. It took
you were preparing for
months of preparation, training, you know, to get to that winning. Standing on top of the mountain was winning. But to get to that, I had to deal with a lot of pain.
All these different steps of preparation people do just to do a marathon is 26 miles. Like just to walk straight is a lot. It's accomplished. You walked up a hill.
So that's the whole entire thing. It's one thing, like, you know, and going back to the whole, like, you know, that mentality. I think the reason why I can get over frustration and stuff is because I do love winning, and because I do love to win, and I'm trying to put my mindset in that. I used to be, when someone would say, do you love to win or do you hate losing? And I used to be the first person to say, I friggin' hate to lose, dude. I hate it.
I think that comes with age. Like when you were younger, you were like,
I think most people, if you ask most people, like, do you hate losing or do you love winning? Most people are gonna go, I hate losing.
Because nobody thinks about the L's. You know, and I think people like you, successful people, they think about their losses, but they use them in a different way, almost like a tool or a leverage to get them to the next step.
I do, bro. That's the thing. I do, trust me, and we all do. There's not one person who does not hate it. I hate losing, but I don't dwell on that. My focus is like, what do I need to do in order to feel the feeling of winning. I want to, because you're like, God, winning
Yeah.
is such a good feeling,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
I mean,
When you do
it's-
something right, no matter what it is, like if you do something right,
Right.
you try to focus on that. I think is the key. Like first of all, I think they need to focus on what they want, right? They need to know what they want. Once you have that focus of what you want, then it's like you know that you want to get there. You're like for me, like if I fail, I get pissed. Like it's like I want to get there. I want to do
Correct.
that thing.
Correct.
And I think that's what pushes me. And I think it's the same thing
It's
for
the
you guys.
same, and I think most people who are obsessed with the end goal will do everything to get there. And so, yes, patience is definitely key because you have to be able to be patient with the process. It's not overnight. Habib has talked about, and I'm sure you've talked to him about this, but you know, there's mastering a craft usually takes about 10,000 hours.
Wow, 10,000 hours.
10,000 hours.
I
Right?
heard you
So-
say that before.
Yeah, so let me divide that. That's 10,000. So think about this 10,000 hours divided by 24 hours. That's 416 days.
Dang.
But here's the thing, how much do you actually work at something? You don't work on it 24 hours a day.
You got work, you got kids.
Bro, so like think about that. Let's say that let's say you work on it 1 hour.
you got a long, you have a long.
So multiply this by
years.
23. That's 9,583 days divided by
9,000 days.
yeah. So like it'd take you 26 years. Like if you only worked, so if it takes 10,000 hours and you only worked an hour a day on your craft, it would take you
26
26 years to master. Something around that level.
So we kind of have to give ourselves a break then. If you have not to the point where you're like
Takes
I'm
more
going to
than-
be a loser, but like you have to give yourself like, dude, you have kids, you have a job, you know, it takes time. It takes time.
It takes hyper focus and it takes support. Like so, there's all these variables that I believe that can accelerate the process. If you just tried to figure it out on your own, it would probably take 26 years.
Oh, you're screwed. Yeah.
If you
need to-
had the support, and going back to, you know, how do I get over frustration? I not only do I love to win, but I have a very strong like support. Like the people that I hang around with, the people that I associate with, I'm very lucky because I surround myself around the same mentality and the same support. So for me, when I'm feeling down, it's so easy for me to forget about those things because I have so many people around me.
pick up the phone and call.
Dude, that are so
homeboy or
positive.
whatever,
You know, and there's, you know, I'm blessed, dude. I have 2 young children, so my focus, you know, as much as I'm focused on trying to do certain things, my focus is making sure that they, you know, are
getting
on
their-
on the right track, right, to success as well.
That's the next thing is like you once you're kind of doing your thing, you also have to kind of like we're kind of watching our kids too, right? Like we're like making sure that they're getting through school and with all the things going on in the world and making sure that they're successful and making sure that passing down those qualities to our kids too. And I think hopefully we've been passing on these like sort of like winning asset type of things to nail techs for years. Hopefully we've had some sort of hopefully we've had some sort of like, I mean, we know we've had huge success stories, but I think we've had a huge influence on the nail business over the years, don't you think?
I mean, that's an understatement, bro.
I said it very lightly to see if you.
I mean, you know, my reaction to that, bro. I mean, we've changed the nail industry. So, I like, there's everybody who's in the nail industry who has seen it evolve over the last 25 years.
Oh, yeah.
Young Nails has been a huge part of the evolution of what it is today.
Yeah.
I'm not taking away anything from all the up and coming rock stars and phenoms that are out there right now. Yeah. I'm not, because
well, they could do it too. I mean,
I love everybody. There is. I've always said there is room. There's so much room for everyone right? To share the piece of the success pie.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing. Like, I know, my brother knows, we know that we're always going to have a part of it. And the reason why is because I have the mindset of I'm always going, you have to, look, at the end of the day, you have to outwork me.
Yeah.
So,
and I can tell you from experience, it's going to be very hard to do.
So, and it's not even
These
my
guys
brother. You have to outwork Habib.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother level.
It's a beast.
And so if you do have that mentality, and I'm only saying it because I know what we do. I know what we do on a regular basis.
It's hours of work, and it when it's like it's say for example if a guy's not here on the machine outside in the powder room, it's not like, oh well, we can't fill powder for the day. You will go out there and fill it yourself.
There was look at when everything got shut down and we sent everyone home and we had no employees here for 3 months. We could have shut everything down and prayed.
Most companies did that.
They had no choice.
Hands up.
Yeah, it's just like basically like
gave
this,
up.
Because I think they were just put in a position where they just didn't have a choice on what to do. We don't think that way.
You guys went and did it. You guys filled the product.
Excuse me. We have to. It's like one of those. Look, I think I'm obsessed with also like keeping things going. There's an obsession with trying to reach an end goal of success and winning, but there's also an obsession with keeping everything afloat. And preventing yourself from going backwards. Like,
oh shit,
there's
Jesus, you don't want to go there. Yeah.
And dude, I mean, so many things can happen in life that we have no control of, and I think, being aware at my age right now, I'm aware of, and I didn't think, dude, I 2 young children, wife, 2 young children, family, my mom, God bless my mom. My mom's 79. I mean,
yeah.
And she's just gone through.
She's still creating other businesses too. She's not stopped at 79. She has other businesses that she's creating. Other foundations that she's creating.
Yeah, I mean, her philanthropy is unbelievable. The amount of time and effort that she's putting into helping people who have no hope. Yeah, that's the thing too. It's remarkable, bro, what she's able to do.
At 79, she's still going. She's still doing it. New businesses.
It's fun, man. It's fun.
It's crazy, man. It's cool that you mentioned hope, because I remember my first day when I first met you. My first time that I met you, my first day of work.
You must have been thinking like, what the bro?
Because I came from like pulling cables in hotels. The internet was really big at that time, so I was pulling cables for banks and putting internet in all these places all over the country. And then and I was just like, I got to that point where I had it in my mind, like I had again a goal, and I was like, dude, I don't want to be like putting the cables in for the offices. I want to be the person in the office. Like I want to work on the computer. And so I remember that first day when I came to work, and like I came early. Like I always came at that time. I came in early, and you had just pulled up, and we didn't even go in the office. We jumped in your car, went to Starbucks, and you're like, and then
you were very quiet.
I was very quiet, right?
I'm like, I don't know if this guy wants to be here.
I was nervous as hell. It's your first day. You're nervous as hell. Never met you guys before. Didn't know what to expect. And then
our fathers knew each other for life.
Yeah. So my dad knew Ted. Ted was our mechanic at the gas station down the street in Whittier. So he fixed all of our cheap cars that we had over the years and stuff like that. Kept them going. If it wasn't for him keeping those cars going,
we never had new cars. My dad always bought used cars and fixed them up, bro.
Fixed them up. It was the way you did it. It was the only way. But I remember you popped the question in that car. You said, "Do you have a college degree?" And I went to that depression state. I was like, and my head went down for a second, and then you're like, bro, if you don't have one, it's all good. You're like, stick with me and I'll show you don't need one. And I was like, what? I was like, dude, then dad was like, whoa. I was like, okay, yeah, hell yeah. And so I've been following you ever since. It's like, and here I am 18 years later and you don't need it.
I can't believe it's been 18 years, bro. It's like a third of our lives, bro.
Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. I told Habib I must enjoy torture.
It's been fun, huh?
It's been.
I mean, I think about my personality. I think I've changed a lot over the last 25 years. I mean, you've worked around me for 18, so you've seen my personality. You've seen my temper.
Oh, both of you,
bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I am not the same person I used to be. I was very intense. I mean, it's funny because I think about now and the work culture there is, like, I just had to listen to, we had, as managers of the company, HR requires us to listen.
Special training, of course.
Special, sexual harassment.
Yes.
And you have to go through the whole entire, like, protocol of listening and watching.
Oh, yeah.
And it's required every year. So, as I'm watching, thank God I never, like, I could see some of the videos and I'm like.
Well, we never broke any laws or anything
no,
like that.
No, but like I yelled at people, right?
Yeah.
And, but back in the day.
You could do that back in the day.
No, you can't do, and that's the thing.
You can't do that now.
You can't do that now. It's like, but I think about back then, I'm like, what was I thinking? And I really do kind of, I don't blame it on anything but inexperience and age. And as a younger man, like, because I didn't have the experience, I always had a tendency to react on so many levels before actually, and I think that's why I admire Habib so much, because Habib, he doesn't react.
No. You have no idea what he's thinking.
Dude, he just thinks about it. And sometimes it takes him days to come up with an answer. It's like, bro, are we doing this? It's like 5 days later.
Sometimes months.
Sometimes months.
But it's always it's usually the good
oh, man, dude,
the good answer.
Thank God.
Many times it's been a good answer.
It's crazy.
And you're like, what? No, it can't be like. But he's right every single time.
Oh, dude,
every single time. It's crazy. But I think like. Well, for you, I mean, it's a new, like, the guy that walked up to your mom was like, try this business. And your mom's like, okay. And it's like.
He was a con artist, bro. I mean, he and it's funny because I thank God that he actually walked in my mom's office, but he was renting a post office box from my mom's business at the time. And he knew she was struggling, because he had been basically watching the business.
Oh.
So when he approached her and said, I have this idea.
He hit her at the right time.
Like,
he was planning.
Correct. He was like, I'll rent out the back space of your location for $500 a month just so you could cover, basically cover your nut, right? Like her expenses were super high.
Yeah.
He knew she wasn't doing well, and it was like, let me rent out.
Take advantage of her.
Yeah, and so he didn't even have, like, when I first met him, bro, he didn't even have a finished product.
What?
No.
So he just had bags of powder?
No, he had nothing. He had a case, a briefcase, with some foam that he had cut out, and he had taken random jars, there was no nail products inside. What? And he said, here's my idea. I want to start making manicure and kits for cosmetology schools. It's 400 hours in California. Every 10 weeks, new batch of students come through school. He goes, what do you think? And I was like, lame, in my head. And he said, that's when he said, I have an appointment with Mr. Kenny Williams at Universal College of Beauty.
Oh, wow.
And that was the first dude I met in the business, in the school. Kenny Williams.
I just talked to him like a month ago. I was like, dude, thank God. He's still
Kenny
in the business. That's awesome.
Kenny and his family are still crushing, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, they have run successful cosmetology schools in South LA for, oh my God, bro, it has to be over 30, 40 years, I think.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It has to be. So one of the most successful you think about, and so when we showed him the kit, he was blown away. He was like, oh, what? So he was like, when you guys have something working, I'll take 10. And that's when it was like, whoa, dude,
man.
you want 10? This is before we even had anything. And that's when I came back to my mom and said, I'm in.
Oh, okay. Crazy. So he didn't even have the product. He's had an idea.
That's it, bro.
That's crazy.
He had an idea.
And then it started. I asked Habib the same question when he was on the show. What do you think? So the product, once you got the products together, you got the packaging together. What do you think started to where the company kind of started to take off a little bit? Like what was that point?
Oh man, let's see, 92. It wasn't until 2000.
2000.
So it took 8 years, almost 9. I think 2001 is when I created Young Nails. That was 1999.
1999.
I went to the BBSI show, which is the Beauty Barber Supply Institute show. It's now Cosmoprof.
Oh, okay. So the
Cosmoprof,
Cosmoprof in July.
It's an international,
It's like a
internationally
buyer show,
recognized trade show. They host a big fair in Bologna every year. That's the biggest in the world. And then Las Vegas is their North American, basically, spin-off.
Dang.
And I showed off. I remember I was working on at the time, before Young Nails, I was manufacturing a private label line for Dudley.
Oh, for Dudley School, yeah.
For Dudley Schools.
Chicago.
Well, they were based out of North Carolina. Home office is out of North Carolina.
North Carolina.
So Dudley Products is one of the largest professional African-American, basically hair care beauty lines.
Well, they make their own.
Oh, they do.
Oh,
They
I
have.
didn't
You
know
should
that.
see their facility. Their
That was
facility.
just a school.
Oh no, dude. They are one of. And again, I haven't been to their location in a long time, but at the time when I was working with them, I mean, they had 300,000 square feet of manufacturing space in North Carolina alone.
Dang.
Schools in Washington D.C., Chicago. At the time there was probably 20 or 30 schools throughout the East Coast.
Wow.
And
30 schools? That's crazy.
we had the opportunity to private label a nail care line for them. It was again, very blessed to have the opportunity to work with Mr. and Mrs. Dudley. They gave me the opportunity to create this line for them. But when I created that line for them, it gave me the experience and confidence to create my own. And that's because I was able to do that.
Because you made it for them first.
I did it for them first. I knew how to do it. So, in 1999, 98, I had just finished. I went to school and got my license in 98. And then when I came out of school, knowing nothing,
Yeah.
I knew how to do
They don't teach
manicures
you
and
anything.
pedicures, right? I thought, I only got it because I wanted the credentials. And then once I got my credentials and started working in the business, I didn't know how to do nails well, right? So,
They don't teach you, why do you think that is? Like, if you go to become an auto mechanic and you go to school, when you get out of school, you'll know how to work on cars. But
very basic, right? Depending on what you go to.
Yeah.
If you go to right now, going to auto school is not the same as like going to auto school 30 years ago. Going to auto school is like going to computer school because all the cars are all computer based. They're all electrical based, right?
Yeah.
Going in there, if you go to chef school, you'll know how to cook, but are you going to be a Michelin star chef?
So no matter what school you
Dude,
it still takes.
it takes time.
Goes back to that time
Yeah,
thing.
it's trade school. So trade school, you're going to get the credentials so that you could charge for the work that you do. But that doesn't mean coming out of school 10 weeks. Come on, we talked about. Think about this, right? It's 400 hours, and most of the time you're learning practical so you could pass your board. You're doing outdated testing. And what I mean by outdated testing, they're testing you on fiberglass and silk. They don't do.
Nobody does that in the salon.
No. It's that you're being tested on stuff that is literally no one does for reals.
Obsolete.
Obsolete. So when you get out with a license and you have zero working experience, how do you begin?
So that so then you need something else. So then that's how you and then is that how you got the idea of kind of like developing like classes and education? Because you not only did you have product, but you started to I remember people would call and they'd be like, I don't know how to do, and I'd be like, what, Craig? They don't know how to do that? What do you mean? And you'd be like, yeah, bro, they don't know. You explain just like you explained it to me right now. Like they don't know everything, so we have to teach them.
The only reason why I was obsessed with learning how to do nails is because I was obsessed with trying to promote my product. And if I couldn't speak the language, if I couldn't explain to anybody how well my product worked, I depended on so many educators. Before I had my license, I hired so many people to teach my line.
And they were nail techs and
they were good nail techs, but I couldn't rely on them because when I needed them, it's not like they're at your disposal.
No. I know this from working with
them. Right? So like again,
they may not show up.
Yeah, they don't show. They no show. Everyone no shows, dude. So I'm not going to no show on me.
Dang. So that's why you're like, okay, I'm
going
to
learn how to do this, and I was motivated not just to learn how to do it. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to show the best demonstrations with my brand. I wanted to show the best nails with my brand. I wanted to have the best skills when it came to electric filing. I wanted to have the best skills with gel. Because
you thought that in the early stages.
As I was developing my line, and I was learning, because when I came out of school in '98, I didn't know how to do nails well.
Yeah.
I created Young Nails in '99. Habib jumped on board. It was either 2000 or 2001.
Yeah, I think so.
So by the time Habib jumped on board, I had a few years under my belt of training. I could do a few really nice, and this is before, reverse application. This is something that we basically pioneered.
Created it.
Dude, pioneered in like,
everything.
But this was 2002. Before that, everything was hand sculpted.
Trying to figure out how to paint the smile.
No, it was no painting. Hand sculpting a smile line. There was no painting smile lines.
Yeah.
You had to carve your smile lines out with a brush.
Dang. So only a certain amount of people had that skill.
There was only a certain amount of people, and I could do it really, really well. But like, so again, going out and doing a demo with one killer nail, it was great. Because when I finished doing a demo and someone saw the nail, they were just like, damn, that's unbelievable.
Then they want the product.
They want the product.
Damn.
So that, in the beginning, it was all great, but that only lasts so long as well, right? Because impressing someone with no skill or very little skill,
and all
right?
these other people that have some skills.
But when you start doing demos in front of veterans who have been in the salon
25 years,
dude, who know how to do nails, who have made a living doing nails, you better be good. Yeah. You have to be able to not only back up what you say, you have to be able to do it.
Yeah, and you got there. It's crazy because
years
to say that so your business started taking off for sure. That goal was accomplished.
It wasn't like it was taking off, but it was adding fuel to the fire. We were picking up new customers, we were picking up new distributors, we were working with a lot of international at the time. Our international business probably blew up way before domestic. And that's what kind of gave us the working capital we needed to really kind of, invest in the US market.
That's crazy.
Because most of our business in the early 2000s was international.
All international.
I traveled, bro.
Ireland.
I was living in a hotel in an airplane. I mean, from the age of 28, I think from the age of like 27, 28 to the time I got married, I flew 5 million miles.
Dang.
5 million.
So almost every country in the world.
Dude, in order to get platinum, check this out. To get platinum for life on American Airlines, you have to fly a minimum of 2 million miles.
You blew that out of the water.
I'm platinum for life.
You're platinum for life? Oh my God.
Just because I've flown just with American Airlines, 2 million alone.
2 million alone.
I don't even fly anymore. But there was a point where I literally lived on an airplane.
Well, it was because this product started getting well known in the international markets.
Picked up a distributor in Puerto Rico. Remember?
Oh, dude, Puerto Rico.
Nancy
Yeah.
Alicia, dude,
Oh,
from Naovi.
She's the fly back.
I have no idea. I hope she's doing well.
Yeah.
And then there was
England.
yeah,
Ireland.
Steve and Lisa Daw, dude, and then John O'Sullivan, and then
We had distribution in Germany at the time.
yeah, we had Cornelia and Roland Wolfram, bro. And,
Switzerland too, and Sweden.
yeah, but those those weren't even those weren't even the biggest, and then started working with Luis Rodriguez, and life changed.
Mexico.
So I mean, it's crazy where life will lead you and who you'll meet. But I am also I do believe in luck, but in order to get lucky, you have to put yourself in the position to get lucky.
Like, be ready.
Well, it's not being ready. It's you have so that is true, but you have to put yourself out there. We were doing so many trade shows. We were doing so many events. We were doing so many functions. We were meeting so many people at the time. And Habib, you remember, we were obsessed with leads. There was a time where there was no, we had to write all our leads down.
A clipboard, and I had a big paper.
And we literally wrote the names. When we went to a trade show, there was 200-300 people we would write down.
Yeah.
Remember,
and then you would bring them to me,
and you would follow through on every single person.
I called. Thanks for coming to the show, blah, 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 and put them in the system and organize them and everything.
And it was an obsession, because we knew that in order for us to grow the community, we had to create, I think a lot of people that are in business today, when they try to build community, they don't realize that it takes a lot of follow up.
Yeah, it's like a Habib talked about it. It's like a marathon, not a race. Right. And he said it took us one nail tech at a time. Literally, we would meet them at the show, follow up with them at the office, have their information on the computer, and build these relationships. That was social media, what we now call social media. We were ahead of the time because nobody was doing that even back then. Nobody was they would meet you at the show, blah, blah, thanks for me, and then that's it. We would get their actual information, take it back to the computer, put it in the computer, and follow up and create a relationship with them over the phone. And so now they're talking to Ray, they're talking to Gray, they're talking to Habib, they're talking to Young. They know us as a community, as a company, and and now
becoming part of our community.
Thank God for social media, because it makes my job easier. Now it's all in Instagram, it's all in Facebook. I can keep track of everybody. We can keep that community and build it even stronger.
We really are very fortunate, and I think that a lot of that's the whole entire thing is, anybody who's listening to this has to realize that if you can build community, and then you can take care of your community, that is explosive. But
you got to be able to keep it up. I think we talked about consistency with Habib.
Correct.
You got to be able to keep it up. He would film whether sick, that he no matter where he was, he'd have to film, and that's the same thing we do today.
There's, I don't know how many cycles we've gone through of real high highs and real low lows.
Yeah.
And there's a cycle to everything. I mean, we're coming out of probably one of the scariest moments in human history, right? So the last 3 years, there's not one human that went through, there's every
business that survived.
No,
is lucky to survive.
Every human being on this planet has just experienced a new, no one's gone through a pandemic.
No.
Right? So we've all experienced, and now we're coming out of it. And there's certain repercussions that are now actually starting to come into place, and is it depressing? Oh, dude, it is. But so here's the thing is, but is there opportunity? 100%.
Created opportunities.
So those individuals who are going to stand back and say, "Oh no, I can't believe the economy," and they have something to blame for their unsuccessful, basically
their situation,
right? I look at everything as, even in a down market or even in a time where things are starting to slow down, this is an opportunity for you to stand back, kind of gauge what's going on, and then try to figure out a way, right, where there is opportunity, and build upon it, so that because look, at the end of the day, we're not going to be in this sort of recession for a long period of time.
Yeah.
No,
it goes in cycles.
It goes
comes
in
back.
cycles.
We've had this before.
And the next, look, we've all been fortunate enough to witness the greatest bull run of modern history, and that lasted almost 15 years. You know, there's going to be a downturn, and if there is a downturn, how do you make the best of it, right? So, I feel that. For those of you guys that are building a business, you know, obviously building your skills is one of the most important things. But
do you think they need like a degree or?
No, you don't need. There's no dude. I mean, you know, you know me, bro. You don't need a degree.
So what? So how
do
do
you need a degree?
So how do they learn these skills? Like how did you learn? How did you learn to do this?
I went to school. Like, so I'm not like, you don't need to have a college degree to be successful. You have to learn, you have to educate yourself. Educating yourself doesn't mean going to university and getting a diploma. Educating means studying and practicing. So what's the difference between studying and practicing? Rather than studying something and getting your degree, it's the same thing. So at the end of the day, like, you have to be able to constantly educate yourself.
Oh yeah. It's not like we're saying like we're not educating ourselves.
No,
we're reading like I'm like when I was in the I'm in the sales. I was studying sales. Like I was studying my craft. I was studying the nail business itself. You know, when we get into something like golf or we study the hell out of it.
You have to study.
Yeah.
Look, it doesn't mean you have to study chemistry to do nails.
Yeah, or sit in a classroom
or math to do nails, right? Or science. Like, but at the end of the day, like, if you told me, right, that let's say you just finished cosmetology school and you love doing hair, you love doing color, and then let's say that you do have a scientific background and you love science and you love chemistry, well, maybe you should go to school and get your chemistry degree, because you might be that next individual who's going to create the next great hair color. And you want to know how it's done because you're so obsessed with learning the manufacturing process.
The chemistry and everything that's behind it.
Dude, if you don't go to school and learn that, you're not going to like...
Yeah, that's not something you can learn on YouTube.
No, dude, you're not going to learn that on YouTube. Correct. Right?
So it depends on what you want to do, basically.
Depends on what you want to do. Yeah. Now, do you have to be a chemist? No, I'm saying if you're obsessed with learning the manufacturing process, you could be a brilliant marketer. Hire the chemist, right, who knows how to create it, and then have a team of people who can assemble, right, all the necessary packaging. And if you know how to bring it to market and market that item, that's just as good as...
That's all you need. That's the Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, he knew so much, but Bob Wozniak, or whatever his name was, he was the guy that knew how to create. He designed the computer and everything like that. But Steve was the guy that could talk, that could sell it, he could market it.
He knew a lot, though. He knew a lot as well.
But he still knew a lot.
He knew a lot. I mean, at the end of the day, you can only go so far BSing your way, right? You have to have knowledge on what you're speaking about. It has to be truth. Like, you can't fake it till you make it. We always joke about faking till you make it. But if you fake it to make it, someone is going to smell the BS on the way.
Yeah.
That is a fact. Like, that, you know, we you know, it's always fake it till you make it. And I say, people say that all the time. That living by faking it till you're making it, you're going to end up faking it for the rest of your life.
Yeah. When we say fake it till you make it, it's different than the way other people say it, because we're saying like fake it till you get there, or as you're gaining these skills along the way. Like, we're actually doing something.
It's almost like it's a better way of saying fake it till you make it as embrace the slow learning process till you make it.
Yes.
Embrace the slow grind. Embrace the frustration. You have to embrace patience. And patience is not a. It is
not for everybody.
It's not. It is a virtue, but dude, it's a very tedious, slow process that not a lot of people have the time to do because everyone wants. The problem with culture today is everyone wants results immediately.
Immediacy.
It doesn't, dude. That doesn't happen. You don't. There's no such thing as immediate results unless you scratch a lottery ticket and you get lucky enough to win.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs right now are like, that's kind of their the toughness about doing business in this area right now, or in this culture, is that we see Instagram and we're like, dude, that guy's got the Ferrari, or this guy's got the, but we don't see the back end, like how much time it took him to get that, how much time it took him to get that place.
Most of that is staged, but most of that is staged.
And then some of it's fake too.
I mean, no, dude, most of it. Come on, bro. Most of it is staged. No, like, I can't tell you how many times. If someone, for me, and this is a fact, for me, like if someone brags about what they have, chances are they don't have it.
They don't have it.
I mean, dude,
either they borrowed it or the bank owns it.
Yeah. So the individuals that don't talk about what, like, they have money, and if they don't talk about it or they don't show it,
they have a lot.
They have a lot.
They have a lot. Yeah, you see like these guys that Bill Gates would be like in like cheap sweaters and just a regular. He'd look like a regular guy if you didn't know what he looked like. He was just
a lot of people, dude, who have a lot. They don't have anything to, like, they don't, all of their, basically, all their actions speak louder than their words. And the individuals who have a lot usually have great actions because they give back to their community with, not just with finance, but they give back to the community with knowledge, dude. And I think that's just almost as powerful as anything, Individuals out there that are willing, everyone out there who's happy and who has a lot, if they're willing to share, I mean, dude, we need more people like that. That's what we need.
That's huge, man. Brother, thank you for spending this time with me. You have really helped me out. Hopefully you've helped a lot of listeners.
I really appreciate you, and I'm thankful for you and your family, my brother.
Dude, love you, man.
Love you too, bro.
Awesome. Appreciate you, brother.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you, Greg Salo. You can follow G-Man Salo on Instagram. That's G-Man Salo on Instagram. His company, Young Nails Incorporated, on Instagram as well. Follow his wild antics and his journey through CrossFit, all the things that he does, all the stuff that he talks about. Believe me, I've seen it, I've witnessed it. This is the true deal right here, my man. Guys, also, if you've enjoyed the show, feel free to click on that support link right there in the description. For as little as $1 a month, you can support this channel, and we'd love to see you and hear you and watch you listen again. We'll see you soon. Have a great one.
Thanks.